Spring anime season has been delayed. At this point, it feels like 2020 has been cancelled. So what's up guys, Fox here. I wanted to do a quick talk and talk about every anime that's been delayed, and also a certain manga, but at the same time also answering some of your burning questions. Why is your favorite anime delayed? Why can't they just do this work remote? And how about manga? So if you do find this helpful, smash that like and subscribe. Feel free to ask questions below, but I do ask you to watch the full video first. Let's go ahead and get started. The first delay up, the Demon Slayer movie. It looks like even the best anime of 2019 can't escape this. And I know some of you are going to be wondering, wait, isn't the release date October? Officially, that was the new release date announced, but this movie should have really been out by summer season. Next anime, the Violet Evergarden movie. Originally, this should have been released this week. Poor Violet. And poor Kyoto Animation Studio. Looks like they also can't catch a break. A new release date is pending for Violet. Number 3, the Fate Heaven's Feel movie. So unfortunately, this thing got delayed over to April and then got further delayed again. I was really so hyped up to see this in theaters too. So given how the Demon Slayer movie got moved to like October, I would expect this to be sometime in the fall too. Number 4, SAO Alicization Season 3 War of the Underworld Part 2 Final Season. That is a mouthful. They just can't give us the final piece of this. Officially, SAO has been moved to the summer season, although they have pointed out it will be based on whether the whole situation improves by then. You know how much I love SAO, so I've been pretty devastated with this move. On top of this, they also canceled the SAO concert here in Japan, along with the pre-screening event for this quote-unquote final season. Number 5, ReZero Season 2. So this really just must be Subaru suffering even more. ReZero Season 2 actually got delayed early on. Right now, Subaru, Emilia, minus Rem have a good spot in the summer season. Number 6, No Guns Live Season 2. To be honest, I haven't even started this anime. I hear no one talking about it. Number 7, Orega Iru Season 3. So this was actually a huge anime that I missed. I haven't seen the first 2 seasons that was coming out in the spring anime season. They've also moved this one to the summer season. Number 8, the Evangelion movie. So I think this movie is just cursed. This one keeps on getting delayed after delay after delay. The original release date was just before the summer season. If I had to guess, I wouldn't expect this until the end of the year, maybe Christmas. Number 9, The Misfit of the Demon King Academy. So this was actually a spring anime that got moved early on, and pretty much no one noticed. It's set to come out in the summer season. The Given movie. Like all the other movies we talked about, this one got delayed too. As for ongoing anime, you got Apara Ranman, Black Clover, that'll be post episode 132, Food Wars the final season past episode 3, One Piece, Digimon 2020, and Pokemon. By the way, just recently announced too, Boruto. But wait, let me actually give you some good news. Here's anime not delayed, and maybe some that won't be delayed. The Bookworm Isekai has confirmed all episodes have been completed recently, so the voice actors have been able to record their lines. This should be no problem. BNA. Yeah, it sucks. This Trigger anime is unfortunately in Netflix jail, but at the very least, 6 episodes have been completed before the official debut, which means there's a great chance for the whole animation to be done. The voice acting stuff is a different question. Ghost in the Shell, the new amazingly looking CG anime. This thing is still scheduled to drop on Netflix. And yeah, it does look questionable. To be honest, if I wasn't doing this full time, I might not even check this out. But who knows, what should be anime of the year? So let's get into it. Why are all of these anime delayed? And I know some of you are screaming, Jerry, the C word. But I'm really talking about the more fine-grained details. Let me just start out by mentioning that I have been to an anime studio here in Japan, and I do know some working animators. I've also been living in Japan over a year, so I fully know how Japan has handled the situation here in person. Or perhaps I should say not handled it. Japan actually had school shut down back in March, but didn't go into an actual lockdown until April 7th. That's supposed to be a month, but could be extended. Before this, everything was still open. I was able to go to the gym. I even saw the new Harley Quinn movie in theaters like a week before the lockdown. Also keep in mind, this isn't even a mandatory lockdown. It's more like Japan highly requesting businesses to close. It's then up to each individual business to decide whether to shut down or not. For example, right in this second, I could go out and dine inside of a McDonald's, Burger King, although not that I'd want to. The trains in Japan are still running, at least in Tokyo, although I do hear there's less trains per hour now. So hopefully now you're getting a picture of the situation here in Japan. Now, relating this back to studios and anime production, the most talked about news, or what feels like has gotten the most attention, is really regarding the voice actors. The voice actors unable to record their lines being the reason for anime being delayed. The way the recording process here works in Japan involves voice actors going to a sound studio. There, you then have multiple people present. This includes the directors, other voice actors, and so on. So already you have the voice actors being put at high risk coming into this small recording room. All of this is actually even worse for people like the director and others who constantly have to be present all day there. Keep in mind, a good amount of veteran voice actors, directors, producers, and so on are pretty high up there in age. You know, the people most at risk. Goku's voice actress, for example, is 80 plus. And sure, I know some of you are wondering, why can't they change the recording process in this or that way, disinfect it, or similar stuff? Keep in mind, this is really one piece of the anime production puzzle. Even if you make the recording studio as safe as possible, you still have all these people put at constant risk if you have them traveling by train or bus just to get over to that studio. And unfortunately, home recording is definitely not an option. This isn't even getting into the actual agencies that a lot of voice actors work for, some of which may be shut down right now. And even if they're still open, those places would be the ones responsible for any voice actor taking any risk. Switching to a different issue, the actual anime studios making your favorite anime like Attack on Titan, SAO, Demon Slayer. I've actually seen this talked about less, and even when it's brought up, only the animators are mentioned. The actual production of any one anime includes so many moving parts. But really quickly, here's a quick overview of how anime is made. The actual studios work on the anime while the anime is airing. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for an anime studio to literally try to finish a given episode up to the day before or even the day when the anime episode is set to go live. Let me just say, I'm not a gamer since I really gave up gaming years back, really just to do this. But to me it sounds very similar to how some video game studios have this crunch time that I keep on hearing about. And I know some of you will point out, you may have heard about a given studio finishing an anime before the actual anime season. That happens every now and then, but that's extremely rare, which is a shame. At one point in time, I actually recall the Pokemon anime being months ahead of production schedule, but even that at this point has been delayed. For this spring anime season, you actually have Trigger with at least 6 episodes done. And then you even have the best example, Kyoto Animation, which may be one of the best anime studios to get the episodes mostly done or done before the actual airing. But at the end of the day, again, this is a huge exception for anime creation. But anyway, specifically getting back to the animators, why can't they make the anime remotely? So first off, recall what I mentioned about Japan highly requesting businesses to shut down. In just Tokyo, there's literally hundreds of anime studios. Whether a good chunk of these studios have shut down or not will be based on a given studio's decision. And quick disclaimer, this could vary so much based on a given anime or studio. But the reality is, unfortunately, a lot of non-essential businesses still have people going to work daily. Yes, this means getting their butts in trains for the trip over to the office, often a really long one. Given how many businesses are still open, that would include a good chunk of studios. This feels really bad. When I visited A1 Pictures a few years back, I was genuinely surprised at how small and cramped these working areas are for animators. Given how the stuff going around may not show symptoms for weeks, if you have just one person that catches it in the studio, they're all getting it. Thankfully, I've heard from buddies of a few studios shutting down temporarily, but just to get an idea of how slow the businesses are to change, get this. One of the animators I know is now working from home. The process between the shutdown happening to the company deciding to go remote took around roughly a week. More than a week later, her equipment was shipped over to her place. Fun fact, keep in mind how small our Tokyo apartments are. At the end of the day, when you got delays in one part of the anime making process, all of this will have a cascading effect. This isn't even touching on bigger studios contracting smaller studios for either full episodes or part of an episode. Some of these anime studios even outsource anime work over to China or South Korea. For example, for spring anime season, you had the coloring of the ReZero keyframes outsourced. At least that was the reason given for the initial delay. Most likely it would have been delayed anyway. So taking a step back, you definitely don't want to put anyone at risk. I really don't want to imagine it. Really forbid something happening to your favorite voice actor, singer, director, or other super famous anime related person. But from a business perspective, if something like that were to happen, that studio would forever be known as Studio X that killed said person, or at the very minimum, very highly responsible. I would honestly be surprised if that studio would even get more anime work after that. Depending on how bad it gets, especially with social media nowadays, something like that could easily move up the corporate chain up to the company producing that anime. You could imagine their public image taking a severe beating. So hopefully this was helpful. It wasn't at all meant to be this exhaustive, intensive look, but just to give you a broad picture, a slice of the anime production affected. If you do have questions, be sure to ask below, but do finish the video first and I'll try to get back to you. Now, switching to the manga portion. This is not going to be a full rundown on manga affected. I'll link to that below for manga that have been delayed. But I do specifically have to mention the Attack on Titan manga being delayed. I've been getting asked a lot about this. Why can't the Attack on Titan author Isayama just work from home? And perhaps equally as popular, does this mean 2 chapters in June? So first off, the June question. At least at the time of the delay, they have confirmed that there's only going to be 1 chapter in June. In other words, everything's just getting shifted a month. Then for the remote question, Isayama already very likely works on Attack on Titan in his home studio, or this other private work area dedicated to his Attack on Titan work. This really should be the setup of most major anime sensei. In the case of Isayama, he does have his editor and any assistant also helping him. Naturally, Isayama's not gonna lock up these poor people in his kinky Titan dungeon, which means from everyone involved, there still is a risk there from constant contact. And sure, some of this stuff could get changed around. Isayama could tell his people to work remotely for a time. And I would imagine that at least some of the Attack on Titan manga creation process is already at least partially remote. Although as with any change to the work process causes a slowdown at least for a time. So that said, the real issue is that Isayama does not have a say as to whether Attack on Titan was delayed or not. Attack on Titan is actually released in a monthly magazine called Besatsu Shonen Magazine. Here you got several other manga alongside Attack on Titan being released. The one that ultimately pulled the trigger to delay came from the higher-ups. In this case, Kodansha suspending the release for a month. Keep in mind this being delayed for a month is the current situation as of this video, although I wouldn't be surprised if there's further delays. So this is why Attack on Titan really got delayed. For all you know, Isayama's workflow may not have even been impacted that much. He might even be a couple chapters ahead, but it doesn't matter, it's not his call. Then, for those of you asking why Attack on Titan just can't get released digitally, again, that would be up to Kodansha to make that call. Let's actually take another step back. Even if all the manga from the monthly magazine had no issues whatsoever, you still have another major problem, which is actually getting that huge magazine into readers' hands. Sure, the digital version is getting more and more popular, but you still have a majority of people here in Japan going to bookstores, dedicated anime shops, 7-Eleven, or other convenience stores to get their physical copy, some of which often include bonus goodies too. If they did release a magazine, all of this stuff still requires some physical contact, potentially putting their young readers at risk. You definitely don't want to be that company that had their readers die just because you couldn't wait a month. And even before getting to this point, you would have all the actual print shops that make the magazines, plus the delivery people involved before you even get to the shops. By the way, honorable mention to other anime stuff delayed, Anime Japan here in Japan, Comic-Keto, or Comic-Ket, I was really looking forward to that. Anime Expo over in California. Also, shout out to San Diego Comic-Con. As for how these delays will actually affect the anime industry going forward, keep in mind this will have a cascading effect. You recently had this animator / episode director commenting about these delays. I'll link to the full article down below, but the highlight from this was basically that anything delayed over to the summer may not actually happen. That's how bad these delays are. From the actual summertime or further, here's a short list of anime that I could see getting delayed, or I wouldn't be surprised if something happened. 1. SAO Season 3 War of the Underworld Part 2. This final chunk of SAOization should have some of the more higher quality animation. In other words, animation that would take much longer to do, compared to just a scene of a character talking. Next anime, Fruits Basket Season 2. I'm almost done with Season 1. So despite this anime not being animation heavy, Season 2 is supposed to be like 20+ episodes. There is like no way they got that finished by now. Next anime, Fire Force Season 2. Another one that I'm still behind on Season 1, but I do believe Season 2 is supposed to be 20+ episodes too. The Slime Isekai Season 2. This isekai anime is supposed to be almost 40 episodes, 3 cores. And it hurts to say, but Attack on Titan Season 4. And I know, a good chunk of you are asking, how is a fall anime season possibly getting delayed? And you know, I definitely don't want Attack on Titan Season 4 delayed. But like the animator / director mentioned, delays happening right now are gonna have this cascading effect. For manga readers, you know that Attack on Titan Season 4 should be one of the more heavily animated anime for fall season, especially depending on the number of episodes. I mean, just think back to that Levi chasing. The animator behind that said that it took a month to produce. So hey guys, quick addition after the video has pretty much been done. Unfortunately, The Promised Neverland Season 2 has been delayed. Keep in mind this anime was set to be released in the fall season. This got delayed to winter season. I will point out that the episode count has not been given, but I am a manga reader, which is why I was expecting season 2 to be 20 plus episodes just to get to a decent stopping point. On the flip side, if this was going to be another short season similar to season 1, that would definitely be worrying for any anime at this point. I'm calling it now, anything in the summer or fall with 20 plus episodes, most likely that'll get pushed back. Also, just before going to bed, I did spot another article talking about summer and fall anime season potentially being delayed. When I woke up, that article has suddenly gone missing, but if that pops up again, I will link to it. Let me just wrap up things on this note, and perhaps it'll make me Mr. Unpopular. But honestly, if needed, hold back Attack on Titan Season 4, push back SAO, Re:Zero, Demon Slayer, and anything else. You know how much I love these anime and a ton of others that have been delayed. But I would much rather these anime get pushed back, instead of the opposite potentially happening. Some beloved voice actor, director, singer, or other person involved making our favorite anime to be taken out too early. But anyway, hopefully you found this helpful. Hit that like if you did, and if you do have a question, post it down below. I'll try to get back to you. If you are in lockdown, definitely check out my recent Ackerman Attack on Titan video, and also find out which funny anime you could be watching right now. And I'll see you guys later.